Hello, welcome to YouTube.com. I'm your host, Jeff, and I do cosplay sometimes, and sometimes I just get on here and scream into the void. I have been left alone to record, and it feels probably how Dan and Phil recorded back in 2011, where they were both individual YouTubers and hadn't coalesced into one person yet. Because Kai is out there doing who knows what. I'm in here with the voids. Wooty and Jade. A couple weeks ago, this article came out by, I think it was The Cut, which if I think about it, I will put a screenshot of it here, that literally linked to people's AO3 accounts for a show that I've never heard of called The Pit. It appears to be like an ER Grey's Anatomy type show, but it got links in a major news source. The Cut is like an actual reputable news source. People get information from this source. But instead of engaging with it in an actual journalistic way, we're going to look at it as weird and strange and off-putting. And that's kind of just the pinnacle of what has happened to online and fandom culture in the past couple years since post-COVID. I have been online since 2009. I grew up in basically the era of LiveJournal, fanfiction.net, deviantart, MySpace era, but I was 12, so I wasn't involved in any of that. I'm pretty old school in terms of fandom. I have somewhat more old school fandom mentalities in the sense of, if you don't like it, don't read it. If you don't understand it, don't make fun of it. People are making the shit for free, so don't complain, just find something else to do. And I have noticed that since 2020/2021, fandom culture has shifted in a way that is really not great. It's not even the fact that we're going through fandoms at a breakneck pace. It's not even the fact that people are more interested in what's trending than what do I actually like. A lot of it is the hyper exposure of niche nerd culture to the greater populace. In 2022, I got sucked back into Stranger Things, as did many other people, but I think the difference is I liked Stranger Things when season 1 and 2 were coming out, and I had a phase there, and for me it was oh, I remember this is fun, I'll watch this. But seeing the way that people reacted not just to Eddie Munson, but to people who liked Eddie Munson, really for me was the nail in the coffin in terms of modern fandom culture. I have been through Homestuck. I was a Hitalia fan in the early 2010s. I was around for the Mish Apocalypse on Tumblr in 2013, which, for those of you who don't know what that is, it was a thing where on April 1st, April Fool's Day, everybody and their mom changed their icon to this picture of Misha Collins, would basically only reblog that, and it was a whole thing. I was grounded when this happened, and that was actually the most devastating thing that happened to me. I was a chronically online Tumblr girly at this time, and it was devastating to walk into my first period language arts class and my friend turn her phone to me and go, "Jeff, have you seen any of this?" And I had to go, no, Shelly, I haven't seen any of this. I haven't been on the internet in 2 months. And you're telling me I, peak supernatural kid, don't get to put Misha Collins' face on anything? Devastating, truly. That's what fandom culture was. And you can say, oh, it's because you were a high schooler. People in their 20s and 30s were doing this. I would still do it now, quite frankly. That's fucking funny. Imagine you're a solid BC tier celebrity, and you wake up one day and your face is just everywhere. That's hilarious. I'd retweet that shit. But now, in 2022, people treated Eddie Munson and the way people engage with Eddie Munson as though it was the freakiest, weirdest behavior they'd ever seen in their lives. And I think the reason for that is because you have people who enjoy shows a normal amount. My dad liked Supernatural. He had no idea how invested I was in it. He just watched the show and moved on with his life. But now, because of the internet, I say as a boomer, and because of the way that everybody's on the same forums and the same 3 websites, you're getting people who think that the weirdest thing that they can possibly do is shout Kobe in the middle of class, and you're also getting people who understand ABO fanfiction tropes, and you're getting them in the same room, and everyone's supposed to be fine with it. You've basically let the school lunchroom bullies into AO3. Of course we have this whole oh my god, everything's cringe. I think another example of this, which we kind of saw happen live, but it was still before the great conglomeration of online, is the BNHA fandom. Everyone in 2019, 2020 was oh my god, BNHA is so cringe, it's the worst fandom, and then they're just posting Baku Deku impreg fan art, which quite frankly, I think most every fandom I've been through has had something of that equivalency. Whether you like it or not, impreg is here to stay. We gotta get that bitch pregnant until we get women's reproductive rights for everybody. I don't know, man. Maybe if you made abortion legal, we wouldn't have this. I have to make some kind of abortion joke in every video I do. It's part of my contract with YouTube.com. That is a joke, by the way. Kaya is not here to tell me I can't say that, but that is a joke. Fanfiction and fandom is basically one big what if question. Fandom and fanfiction is inherently queer and is inherently women-led. It starts with Star Trek. It starts with what if Kirk and Spock kissed on the mouth? What would that look like? What would that mean? What if I was treated like a person instead of, a second-class citizen for being a woman or a queer person? Fandom is queer. Fandom has always been queer. Fandom has always been a feminine, fantasy-driven area. I'm saying this, by the way, as a transgender man who was in fandom many, many years before I transitioned. It is an interesting place to explore things that you couldn't otherwise explore. It gives this veil of fiction of like, has anybody else considered what if these boys kissed on the mouth? Or is that crazy? It's not? Wonderful. It's both a validation and a testing ground and also like a very, in theory, safe area to just fuck around and the only finding out you get is people being mean in the comments. I'm not gonna retroactively say that fandom has always been this wonderful, wholesome place. Flaming people on fanfiction.net in the 2000s was a common occurrence. It happened to me. Admittedly, I was 12 and writing really bad Kingdom Hearts fanfiction, but people were mean. As much as we loathe to admit it, even the weirdos can be assholes. A lot of us, especially in the 2000s and the early 2010s, were taking it out on traditionally hyper-feminine women because we didn't fit the Western appeal of what it meant to be beautiful. We're still unpacking all that. We've stopped inherently making the villain of our story the most like femme pink character we can find in the fandom, or throwing in an OC if we don't have. The reason that these types of women, these like bimbo-esques, were the villains is because so often they were just a combination of the IRL people that made us feel like we couldn't exist day to day. And now these people are the ones, 12 years later, that are looking at Eddie Munson cosplayers doing a conga line at an anime convention and going, people like that? I just wanted to watch a show. You can still watch the show. If you want to watch Stranger Things, you can watch Stranger Things. I can also go on a fun little political tangent about how a lot of the actors and creators in that are Zionists, which is not this video. I can make a different video, but it's not this video. But Eddie Munson and the Oh My God, BNHA's Cringe really kind of were the beginning of the end. And then this cut article comes out, and it's all about like, whoa, what if this character was trans? Can you imagine that? A character in a normal CBS primetime show being a transgender man? Transgender man can't be on TV. That's not where they belong. They belong on niche corners of the internet with only less than 10,000 subscribers. I'm referencing myself. I'm allowed. It's my channel. So when you have a mainstream media going into people's AO3 accounts, pulling their fanfictions without their knowledge or consent, and then kind of side-eyeing them, it kind of makes you wonder, why are we doing this? Fanfiction. It's both the final frontier of fandom spaces and also the most shit upon. I might be biased because I'm also a fanfiction author, but I do think that in the past 20 odd years, at least since I've been going to cons and being in fandom, if not before, artists have gotten a lot of legitimacy, both online and in real life. You can go from being a niche online artist comic person to being an artist alley, to having an online shop, to your entire job being your own art. And sometimes it is fan art, sometimes it's original, sometimes it's a healthy mix of both. But the same really hasn't happened for fanfiction writers. Well,
leave me alone!
it has. It just hasn't happened to enough for
Be nice. I'm finding it.
the right fanfiction author. And I say that in quotes
It take you that long to find it? It does.
because there's no such thing as a wrong author. Do you ever go back over your footage and realize your mic gave out halfway through and you're like, that's cool? So the rest of this video is going to have less quality audio because I don't want to forget everything I was saying. Not every piece of fiction, not every piece of work is inherently good. That's fine. Not everything has to be a fucking Michelangelo. Some things are for 5 people, some things are for 5 million people. What we on the current modern internet seem to have forgotten is kind of that. Everything gets made with the intention of either going viral, being mass producible, or being for everybody. If you can't relate to it, it's not good. That's not what fiction's about. That's not what fandom's about. Fandom is about, I found this thing that I relate to, so I'm going to put it in that scenario and make it work in the world that I like to engage with. Fandom is about curating your own space. There's something really cool about that works both for people who like stuff and for people who hate stuff, but it is much more popular right now to be a hater than it is to be a lover. I say this as someone who is a hater. I love to bitch and moan about shit I don't like. When you say, oh yeah, this one artist on Twitter drew this art that's really cringe, Cringe, you are directing God knows how many people in that direction. When the cut article pulls directly from AO3 and is like, hey, look at this. Look at this. They didn't ask for that. You're also not talking to the author. You're basically taking something out of the context it was created in, and you're putting it in a new context, and then you're wondering why people are like, whoa, that's crazy and weird. It's not supposed to be in that context. It's in a context of, I want to dissect this work of art and kind of like pull from here and rearrange the puzzle pieces. Having 3 websites that everybody conglomerates on to look at the same thing, I think is actually more harmful than it is helpful. Like, cool, it's great. I can find everybody and everybody's friend who's into the thing that I'm into. However, so can everybody else, whether they like a certain character, dislike a certain character, whether they like gay people or not. And that is where a lot of the issue lies. One of the things about AO3 that I will sing AO3's praises until I fall over is the tagging system. And I've seen like a lot of people be like, AO3 allowed all this crazy shit that I don't like. Yes, it's supposed to. It's an archive.
There's a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
You don't have to like it. I don't like the ship of Endeavor and Hawks from B&HA. You know what I do? I say either exclude the character of Endeavor or exclude the Endeavor Hawk ship altogether. That solves my problem. I never have to go to people who write Endeavor and Hawks and go, get out of my school. Because first of all, it's not my school. I'm in the school. The school, of course, is AO3. We're all on the same fucking internet. If you don't like something, you don't have to leave, but you can't tell them to leave either. You can't tell them to not make it. It's already made. What are they gonna do? Eat the paper?
Please do not eat the weeds. I am just saying.
And of course, there's also the whole thing of like, oh my god, these cosplayers are acting cringe, or like, this fan fiction is really cringe, or this fan art's really cringe, or this fandom's really cringe. Yeah.
There's a cow farm.
Because it's been in place where people can be cringe and be weird and act out all the dorky ass, stupid ass shit that they find endearing. Going back to Fire Emblem, we watched a video not too long ago where some of the voice actors reacted to some of their favorite Fire Emblem memes, some of their favorite Fire Emblem fan art, and everybody was really appreciative of it all. And it was really inspiring to see, because it's these people who are at least somewhat online going, oh, I understand why this person's making this. They see this character and they see this trait from this character, like, that's funny, let's expand it and make it more about who they are. They see these two characters and they're like, whoa, they have either traits that are very similar or very different. What if they were mushed together? Part of the joy of fandom is being able to be cringe and be free. There are always going to be assholes and there are always going to be people who are rude about it, but part of the enjoyment is it gives you a place to be weird about it. It gives you a place to go, hey, what if I put Dobby in a Hot Topic? Is it realistic? No, I don't think he could get hired anywhere because he doesn't legally exist, but it would be interesting to explore him in like a normal setting of sorts, or for me it would, because I wrote that, so... I don't want my whole experience online to be being told, like, it's weird that you write about these characters in certain situations. Man, why are you reading my shit then? If you don't like it, why are you spending your whole time here? I think a lot of this is people just not knowing what to do when they see something they don't like or they don't agree with. 9 times out of 10, you can just scroll away. You can just say, not for me. I have a shit ton of stuff muted and blocked on like every profile I have because I don't want to spend my Tumblr scrolling time looking at stuff I don't like. The whole concept of blocking, meaning that you like hate somebody and hope that they fall into a pit and die, I think we need to get rid of that. I have like 600 people blocked. Of those 600 people, a good like 400 or so are political people and like ads. The other 200 are like, they write, draw either ships or characters I just don't care for. They kept popping up on my For You page, or people I followed kept reblogging them, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna block them. It is nothing against them, but it has made my online experience so much better, because if we are going to live in an algorithmic world, which quite frankly, I wish we weren't, but that's where we live, you have to make the algorithm work for you. I didn't know about a lot of the Trigun infighting until months into that fandom, because I made a habit of, if I see people posting on Twitter stuff that I don't like, mute, block. I don't want to engage with it. I've been online for too long, I'm tired. That was what made Trigun very enjoyable for me, was there wasn't a lot of that like, oh my god, this is cringe. Oh my god, how could you ship that? Oh my god, how could you say that about this character? It was just people being like, yeah, I'm smashing my Barbies together. I want to see the priest and the plant fuck. And I said, fuck yeah, me too, bro. That's exactly what I'm here for. I am here for a Wolfwood character analysis and some real good Vashwood Kush.
Smoke weed every day.
And maybe, please. cliche milling. I think a lot of fandom and I think a lot of online interest would get better if we kind of generally remember everything you do isn't for everybody. I'm for a niche audience. I'm aware of that. I'm not deluded into thinking that, but I think a lot of people assume like, oh, I can go viral, I can be big, I have to make things that everybody's gonna like, I have to be the newest best thing. Everything I see has to be made for me as well as everybody else, and that's not true. Everything you get involved with fandom wise, it might not be for you. A lot of times people make stuff in fandom that they think is interesting, and it's not inherently for a different audience. That's not a bad thing. They're just saying, do you want this? And I think we kind of need to go back to that. I think we do need to look back at older fandoms and at older experiences, older websites, more established areas, and go, well, what makes this work? Not everything that you do is going to be for everybody. Not everything that other people do is going to be for you. There's a healthy medium between demanding things always work in your favor and whatever the fuck this cut article is about, where it's like, whoa, there's a whole part of the internet that I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Crazy. Maybe we should like laugh at them. No, dude, just fucking enjoy what you enjoy. Let other people enjoy what they enjoy. And at the end of the day, if you aren't seeing enough shit that wiggles your jimmies, go make it yourself. Because if you want to have a good time in fandom, if you want to have a good time online, you have to put the fucking effort in. You have to understand why people are doing what they're doing, what kind of fun and enjoyment they're trying to get out of it, because not everybody's the same as you. That more or less is it for the video. Sorry if it's a little bit all over the place. We are trying some new styles. If you like this, if you would like to hear more, please leave a like or a comment. Go ahead and subscribe if you enjoyed it. If you're new here, we also do cosplay videos and we do duo videos with Kai, also here, lovely bird man. A lot of it's about like being online, being queer, being kind of nerdy in the fandom, art, whatnot. So if that's up your jive, please subscribe. If it's really up your jive, you're also welcome to join our Patreon. It will be linked below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.